Hello, my name is Michael Niktaris, CEO Aquarius3E LLC. Welcome to Around the World in San Francisco, Chronicles of an Explorer. Today is February 26th, 2020, and I'm going to share with you a story that happened today. So, it was around 8:30 in the evening. The sun had already gone down, so it was pretty dark already. The bike that I use to ride around San Francisco is called a Bay Wheels bike. Bay Wheels bikes are all around San Francisco. They're easy and convenient, and they also have electric bikes. The great thing about the electric bikes is not only do they help you get up those really big hills, those gnarly hills in San Francisco, but they're also convenient because you can reserve them. From your phone, you can locate where the bike is, reserve it, and you have 10 minutes to get there. So during that 10 minutes, no one else could take the bike while you're on your way to get it. The reason that this is significant is it connects to my story. At around 8:30, I had reserved a bike on Montgomery and Columbus Street. It took me a few minutes to walk there, but when I arrived, I realized that there was a man that was standing there, but there were two bikes, so I wasn't sure if one of those was my bike, so I crossed the street to the other side of Columbus Street to see if maybe my bike was on that side of the street. But when I realized it wasn't, I knew one of those two bikes was mine. So I went and I saw that one of the bikes was flashing a blue light, which indicates that it had been reserved. When I looked at the numbers of the bike, I realized that indeed it was my bike. So I went and I unlocked the bike, took the lock out, and then suddenly the person who was standing by the two bikes said, "Hey, that's my bike." And it kind of caught me off guard. It was a young black kid. And I said, "And what are you talking about? I reserved this bike. It's my bike." And he said, "No, that's my bike. You know, I'm finna call the police if you don't give me back my bike." I said, "What are you talking about? I reserved the bike. I just unlocked it. How could it be your bike if I unlocked it?" And he said, "Do you see that? Right there, those are my tools." And then inside the basket, there was a bag, which I presume had tools in them. And he said, "I work for Bay Wheels, and that's my bike." And I said, "Well, how do I know you work for Bay Wheels?" And he said something like, "My name is," and I was like, "Well, what's your name then? I'm gonna contact Bay Wheels." And he said, "My name is Randall White," or something like that. And then I was like, "Well, I never encountered this before. Someone working on a bike in the middle of the night, like this." And he said, "Well, I'm here, I'm fixing this other bike." And I realized that this really wasn't going to be going anywhere. And so I just locked the bike and, said, "I'm sorry for the inconvenience." And I just walked to the next bike dock, which was 2 or 3 blocks away on Commercial Street. And I think the young black kid, he was kind of taken aback. I don't think he was expecting that response from me. Nowadays people like to escalate things, and if something is mine, they fight for it and all this kind of stuff. And I didn't want to do that. By the letter of the law, I think that the bike was mine because I reserved it. Even if he works for Bay Wheels, I'm a member of Bay Wheels. I've ridden those bikes thousands of times all around San Francisco. So if I reserved the bike and I unlocked it, technically it is mine. But the spirit of the law says, here's a situation where, this guy, he didn't reserve the bike. So he probably should have, but he didn't. And he had his tools there, so he needed it more than I did at that time. So I let him have it. And I'm sensitive to race relations in America in general. White on black violence, black on black violence, all of these kind of things. And I didn't want to escalate anything here, so I wanted to be very kind, and I wanted to, make sure that I, came away treating him with respect and with dignity, because maybe the reason that he was so aggressive toward me was he probably gets people aggressive toward him, all day, that sort of thing. And so understanding that, I just, said, well, whatever, you can have the bike. And then I went and got a bike. It wasn't an electric bike that I ended up with, but that's okay, because in the end, what that meant is I got more exercise. I got to use a manual bike, so I worked my legs more, pump more oxygen, in my heart. And more importantly, a situation that could have escalated and gone bad, involving police or who knows, even a physical altercation, ended up being a smooth ride. So it's an example of you come across a conflict and you look within yourself to see if you can improve yourself. Some people call it taking the high road. You could look at it as improving your moral standard. The Chinese word for it is your xin xin, your heart standard. You look to improve your heart standard. So I think, if we all did that sort of thing, and we all look to, improve, regardless of race, I think the situation in the United States would improve. I think it would improve pretty quickly. So anyway, this is my story for today, February 26, 2020. This happens to be the first Around the World in San Francisco Chronicle story that I have. I actually have dozens and dozens, if not hundreds, of these kinds of stories that I'm all going to compile into a book titled Around the World in San Francisco. So this is sort of like a teaser, something to get people interested in what I'm doing. And as you can see here in the back, I've put video of me on my travels. So I hope that gives people, a glimpse of what it's like to be me, a CEO with the heart of a paper boy, riding his bike around San Francisco, trying to figure things out and make the world a little better place, one bike ride at a time. I thank you for your time, and I hope you have a wonderful night. Sincerely, Michael Niktaris, CEO, Aquarius3E LLC.